Oh, hey, didn't see y'all there. Welcome. About to knock out a live stream. If anybody could guess this live stream, great. We're gonna start painting. This is an interesting study that I'm gonna do because it's a fairly large study, and it'll be it's actually a pretty challenging study, a very challenging study, but we're gonna push ourselves. This is totally different than anything I would typically do. Very different than any piece I would typically do. But, this is probably one of my favorite paintings ever that I've seen. And I've just decided I'm going to do a master's study of it. But it's a little difficult because all I have is a computer screen to watch it from. But the actual painting itself is like a massive, very large, very, very large painting. And let's just start with a nice, loose. I'm just going to start with a very loose sketch of this. So let's grab some of our yellow. Just want to start with a very loose sketch. And if you could guess what painting this is, rush, guess, take a guess. So I'm starting a new painting right now. I want to sketch it out first before I want to sketch it out. But let me see what the overall arrangement is. There's some things that are more importantly arranged than others. Some parts of this are more important as far as the overall arrangement goes. So, this arrangement's really interesting because nothing's perfectly in the center. Only a few things are like separated into the third areas. So 1/3, 1/3. And let's see, that her body, her torso is going to take up about 1/3. So let me see. I'm gonna bring this down a little. Drop it down just one, so I can get like a good setup right here. And let's see, how is this arranged? I want to try to understand this composition a little bit. So the face is at the 1/3 point. So we're going to try to set the faces at the 1/3 point, seeing each other at about the 1/3 point. So about 10 inches is where I want the face. So let me go right here. Let's go. Oof. How do I do this? So this is going to be really challenging. I'm trying to think of, let's see, head, I'm going to go with her head is going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5 lengths. So I want a head that's about 4.5 lengths. We'll just call it 5. So if I go here, if something's like about 5 lengths, so let's go 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's not going to be a big enough head. I want to mark the center line. Let's see. We're going to mark the center line. Let's try to mark the heel. Let's start with marking the heel first. So we're going to mark a heel just past the center line. And then we're going to mark the top of the head at about 1/4. Let's see, is that right? Or about 1/4. No, just above the halfway point. So just about. Oh, I feel like I'm cheating right now because there's this bar here that tells us exactly where the halfway point is. It's almost like cheating. So let's see, if that's past the half point, then we need to, if this is exactly on the halfway point, then we need this foot to go like right around here. And just planning out the composition, I don't like to overly stretch everything out or like plan everything out, which ultimately might just be my downfall. But let's go like this. We're gonna come around and like this. That's going to be about a quarter of the way, so a quarter of the body is going to come right here, and this body part is going to come like this. So just do an initial sketch, right? Everything's just. Did you see a cat? Cat in the box? Did you see a cat? I didn't see a cat. My cats are usually around, but I didn't see them hanging out here. And let's see, let's mark the top of the head. So the top of the head, let's see, I'm just marking out my halfway points here. So that's about halfway. Top of the head is going to be about, the eyes are going to be about the quarter point, right? Got the arm. The head's going to be just about the quarter point, halfway up from the half. So right here, so halfway up from here is where we're going to have part of her face. Now, I don't know exactly what part. Let me try to figure this out. Let's see. What am I looking at? Up. And then half of that, and we're going to get the nose right there. So we're going to go for the nose. We're going to bring the nose just a little bit up to the halfway point here. Just past. So right around here. And what kind of dimensions can I use? I'm trying to think. So this head length needs to be about five parts. So one, 2, 3, 4, and then 4.5. So whatever this length is, it's got to be about 4.5. So let's see. 1, 2, let's just say 1. I'm doing this the hard way, by the way. The easy way, or like the most professional way to get this perfect is to literally just copy it and then, just transfer it. But I'm doing it a little bit unstandardized. So 1, 2, 3. Well, you know what? Let's just match this section as under the breasts. So we're just going to match this area as having the breast area. So let's just mark a little bit above the hand here. This is going to come down with the breast. And honestly, this angle of the face should pretty much be angle of this face. Let's see about this other mark area here. So we got this about the halfway. The stone is a little over a quarter. So if we do this as a quarter, of the way up, then we're going to go a little bit higher with the stone here. Let's bring the stone like right over here. A nice flat stone. The stone's going to be just before the halfway mark, so right over here. It's going to come all the way to the end. And wherever this foot falls, should almost be about the length of his hand. Wow, this should almost be about the length of the hand here. Just a little bit before the arm. So like right here, let's go that and then down. Let's compare the head length to the length of the foot here. So we're going to go head, length of foot, length of foot. So wherever the head length is going to be length of the foot. But let's just bring this down. Yo, Enigma, what's up, dude? Staying out of trouble, I hope. Getting creative, staying creative, doing good things, right? Just doing nothing but good things, I hope. I will disown you as a brother. I will disown you as a brother if you get suspended again. I can't possibly have a brother who gets suspended. That would never happen. My brother would never get suspended. He would never do something like that. Never in a million years. All right, let's see. So this is going to come out, and we're going to have like a foot right here, foot and heel. It's going to come past the hand here. So let me see if this is about 1, 2, 3, 4. Was that right? 1, 2, 3, 4 and a half. So we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4. Nope, that's gonna be way too small. This head's way too small. Is it really that much bigger? My goodness. There's no way that this head's needs to be that big. All right, so let me see. Oh, these dimensions here. There's no way. It's leg length. Let's see, the leg length is about the body's going to be about twice the leg length. So whatever this length is needs to be about twice the leg length. Oh, and this is totally off. This is right. But we need torso here. So let's go. Let's see if that's halfway. Halfway. Maybe this needs to come down a little lower. That should be less than a head length long, so just planning out my sketch right now. That should be less than a head length lower, so wherever this head length is, one, it should be less than a head length lower though. So maybe the head needs to be bigger. It's gonna go up. The head should be even a little bit bigger. I think what happens is this is also a little too far back, so let's go a little bit forward. Go a little bit bigger with this head here. See how much space is between the head and 1, 2, 3 head lengths. So whatever this is needs to be separated into thirds. So 1, top to bottom need to be separated into thirds. So 1, 2, yeah, this is about right, like right here. Where am I going to paint it? So this is a guessing one. I'm not going to reveal it until you're just gonna have to take guesses. But I've said it before in like the past that this is one of my favorite paintings of all time. So I'm just doing a master study right now, getting some proportions, and still pretty messy here. Still pretty messy, but let's get like right here. Just behind the ear here. This is such a masterful drawing. And I just hope that I hope that it's not the absolute worst thing that I could possibly make. And let's go like this. So we're gonna have this body right here. This foot could probably be a little bit bigger, but we're just gonna keep this like this. Keep the arms. Keep this arm length here. Right here. I'm gonna go bring the arms pretty much parallel. Look, that's where it's supposed to be, so. And let's see here, we're gonna come around like this. Let's go ahead and build this up. Keep building this up here. Let's go like this. We got a little butt over here, so let's see, his butt's gonna come down right over here. And that's just not enough space. I think this has to come a lot lower. Oh yeah, this has to go a lot lower actually. How's my day? My day is going good. My day is going good. Started the morning off pretty well. Felt inspired, so right now I am just working through the development of this painting here. All right, and this is a little far off. Let's go like this. Yeah, I'm actually quite focused right now, trying trying to get this design. So I may not be the best talker. I think if I draw this kid okay, this angelic figure, I think we'll be good. So let me just go like this. Let's actually get this, get up in his neck here. And then we're just going to go... body needs to look a lot longer. A lot longer. Let me see how this foot goes. We're just going to go like this, right at the bottom here. This butt area. It's going to turn. I got my paint. A woman carrying a kid is your theme. Something like that. Still, you gotta guess. You gotta guess the painting. I'm not giving it away. Still gotta guess this painting. My friend. It might take years. It might take until the end of this project. I don't know, but I'm not gonna give that away so easily. You gotta know your artwork. I'm not gonna give it away. I'm not giving it away, my friend. I want to thin this arm a little bit. Everything is proportioned, so my proportions are just not right yet. What can I do about these proportions? Let's see here. This foot's going to be about that far, right? Foot lines up with the toes. Actually, you know what? The foot's a little behind the toe. If I could bring this foot a little bit forward, I can actually match it a little better. If I could bring this part of the foot forward, it should go right up. This is where the leg should pretty much end. This is right under the forearm here. And then bring this around right here. Should go before the end of the head. You know what? I feel like this little box could be just a little bit less in the space here. Let's play with our space a little bit. We've got some grass outline right like that. I'm gonna go like this, up like that, like that. A nice little loose sketch. Should almost be, let's see, the halfway and almost to the quarter. So this is halfway. Shoulder should go up past his eyes. So shoulder should be like up around here. And the neck's gonna come forward. All right, let's lay down some color. We're gonna be sketching this out as we go. So let's grab a nice loose, let's do a yellow burnt sienna. So yellow / burnt sienna, which will give us a nice yellow-red like undercolor. It's a nice loose yellow-red undercolor here. Get it nice and wet. Nice and wet with mineral spirits so that we can keep it really loose. Honestly, I really should be using a bigger brush, so that's what we're going to do. I'm going to grab a bigger brush here. This one. Yeah, you know what I'm discovering? This brush is horrible for actually trying to lay down color. Takes up so much of the paint. And her torso is just like her torso is too narrow. Or her torso is not narrow enough in this version. That's something I really need to update. But you're not Sherlock Holmes. What's up, Dave? How you doing? You know what, Nick? But you don't need to be Sherlock Holmes, man. Can't give it away. Can't give it away right away. You know, you gotta take a guess a little bit. You know, let's see how your search engine skills are. We're gonna go back to this other brush that's a little bit smaller. That's a much smaller brush, and we're gonna, you know, keep this going, but with. I'm still gonna work on trying to find the shape here. Just keep it nice and loose. Nice and loose. I'm just gonna find our shapes. Go around our figure here. Trying to find the length of this head, what it should be. Definitely a bit more curved right around the shoulder. The shoulder should have a very distinct curve like this. And we're going to go into the front of the head right here. Which one is better? Difference between oil paint and watercolor. Hey, you know, the one that's better is the one that you'll actually that you will actually use. That's the one that's better. The one that is better is the one that you feel like you will be happy learning. Vincent van Gogh loved oil paint, but Paul Cézanne loved watercolor, as well as many artists of those days. So, you know, it all depends. Egon Schiele loved watercolor. So it really depends on what your preferences are, man. You never know. Try them both. I've tried them both. I prefer oil. That's just me, though. You know? That's just me. That is just my personal preference here. Don't let other people's preferences influence you. For all we know, your preference of media might be tinfoil. Maybe you become a master of metal sculpture, and it all begins by making little tinfoil balls. I don't know. Like, I think that's the worst thing that you could do is pick a medium and like get stuck in it, and it's just not right for you. You know, I started with digital, and I was like, you know what, digital's not really right for me. And then I moved into oil, and I tried some watercolor. I've tried pastels. You know, I've worked with pencils and pens and brush pens. And you know what? Some stuff is just not meant for everybody, right? Not everything is meant for everybody. So I'm not going to say which one is better. I'm going to say the one that's better is the one that you like more. So pick up both. What works for you. And maybe, you know, you start with watercolor or oil or digital or pen and paper. Maybe you start with these things and eventually, you know, go laterally. Although I will say, you know, oil is still pretty much like, you know, the most, aside from acrylic, I think, you know, most people are, you know, most people have moved to acrylic, or a lot of people have. But, you know, for the longest time, oil. If you want to just go classic, go oil, right? Oil, watercolor. But if you feel like part of you just wants to experiment, just wants to go all out, just wants to like mess around, have fun, don't worry about it. Get the one that works best for you, right? So I don't use watercolor. I don't use watercolor because I don't feel like studying watercolor. Because if I pick a new medium, you know, I feel like I have to study it. I have to take my time to like, you know, learn some of the basics of how to work with it, and then really dive in. I don't like to just like kind of like half-ass learning a new medium. I don't mind messing around with watercolor, but you know, if I pick a new medium, I'm gonna spend a lot of time with it, and I just don't have that kind of time to spend on oil paint and watercolor. You definitely find that like in order to like get to practice things, you know, sometimes you just got to pick one. But if you know, you said you were 17 or whatever, like just go have fun, dude. Go have fun. Sign up for an art class. Stay in sports. Go meet, you know, go hang out with your, you know, your significant other. Go make friends. Go outdoors. You don't need to stress about whether, you know, watercolor or whatever is the best medium for you. Just don't need to. Leave that for later. Let's try to grab some pink for our figures, our bodies. You had a football. Hey, nice. Congrats. How'd you do? Let's hear about it. You get touchdowns or whatever. When you say football, because you said you're not from the U.S., you say football, you mean you're from you mean like soccer, American soccer, or do you mean? Well, obviously, if you're not from the U.S., you totally mean football, because no other country calls it soccer except America. Let's go. I'm gonna lay down some of the rest of this ochre here. By the way, in case anyone's curious, this is a very inefficient way of working. There's better ways of there's better ways of doing this. But I think doing it this way just helps me to start thinking about the rest of the painting and just figuring it out and planning and just trying to notice like areas that might be mistakes. The whole thing's a mistake. Just kidding. Oof. I just don't think that this is gonna work. That takes up at least a third of it. So where are my proportions going wrong? I just can't figure it out. Where are my proportions going wrong? Maybe right here. Bring this up a little bit. Bring the neck, head forward, and the head forward like that. Something's going on with my proportions. That's about about right though. This little guy. This is about right. Maybe we could just increase the length of this just a little bit further. And let's go, let me come up a little bit higher. Let's try to find, let's grab this color and lay it in there. Just so we can start to get an idea of this. Oh, you know what? There's like another leg that comes out here. And let's see, I think as far as proportions go, this is actually not perfectly proportioned. There are mistakes. I see mistakes. I see the mistakes, the errors in his ways, in this artist's ways. So maybe some of this isn't as big of a deal. It's gonna come around the butt. Just this leg. Why is this leg like this? Maybe if I bring the body down just a little bit, because the leg needs to end right around here. And then it needs to come pretty much straight down. And then I'm gonna have some in here. Let's get the pink in here. Let's get some of this pink. Am I seeing it yet? Still not seeing it. I think I gotta lower the length of this. Gotta overall bring the length of that side down. I think we gotta bring the length of this down a little bit. Let's exaggerate this a little bit more. That should be about half. I should make about half, and then bring that down just a little bit. I'll come down here. All right, what have I actually done? Let's see. Oz says this looks kind of bad. Thank you, thank you. Football, it's okay. If not, we can. Tony wants me to say something about a unicorn. What? Tony, that's a weird comment. I don't know if I can make that. I feel like a comment like that has like some meaning behind it that I just don't understand. Do you want me to say? I don't know. Am I judging prematurely this idea of like I'm happy to do it. It's just that's a really weird comment. That's why I won't. I like don't really. It's really weird. Like I feel like it's some sort of meme, and that like I just don't get the joke. Am I being too paranoid? Am I showing how paranoid I am? Let's go. Let's grab our white. Honestly, I almost want to just like do this painting and just call it done. Let's call this master study. Let's call this the master study, right? Why not? You believe I'll do a miracle? Well, thank you, Enigma. That I believe I can do. I believe I can do a miracle. I believe, I believe, I believe, I believe. I believe, I believe, I believe, I believe. Honestly, I don't even think this looks bad. I actually like it. But I can understand that, it's easily misunderstood. I can understand if it's easily misunderstood. Therefore, I get it. It doesn't look bad, it's just misunderstood, okay? All right, clean off this brush. And here's the funny thing. So I want to try this technique where I wipe away some of the areas, but I don't think that's going to be possible with this because I use so much mineral spirit. That's just going to be really dry. That's going to be really wet. No, you can't really rub away because I have like there's already like multiple layers on here. Yeah, there's already like multiple layers, so you can't. Yeah, can't rub away. I think I just have to depend on my own ability at this point. Like you use a lot of mineral spirit, it's already dry. There's no turning back. No turning back now, people. So let's start with dark brown here. We're just gonna start with some dark browns in our hair. And let's go like this. it should be like. Huh. Honestly, I still haven't really figured out the final shape of everything yet. Final shape. Who plays Destiny? Anybody play Destiny? It's a great game. I recommend it. I recommend the game Destiny. Can you see how this proportions look in the nose? Mouth is okay. We go a little bigger on the forehead here. Like Jeff Watts, soft brush sounds remind me of Bob Ross. About to sleep to this. Well, thanks, Azam. Thank you so much, Jeff Watts. Alexa, who is Jeff Watts?
According to Wikipedia, Jeff Tom Watts is an American jazz drummer who has performed with Wynton Marsalis, Branford Marsalis, Betty Carter, Michael Brecker, Alice
Jeff
Peterson,
Watts. So I remind you of a
Robert
musician?
Wilson, and
Okay.
others.
Fair enough. I'll take it. Musical artist. Honestly, I think this chin needs to be a little bit bigger. It's like neck area. This chin needs to be just a little bit wider. I think this mouth looks okay. This cheek will come down like this. All right, let's sketch out the other kid now. I should be using a really light, much lighter sketch here. And honestly, I'm almost like I actually like how it looks. I'm almost tempted to just like leave it this raw. Just keep it with this rawness of an image, and then just like call it a day. Call it my study. Call it my study, and then just call it quits. Honestly, what do I feel, right? What is my creative instinct telling me? My creative instinct is telling me to do that, but I think it really only works. Sadly, let's talk about like the gatekeeping of the you know what? I should take a photo. I should at least take a photo of this stage of it. The gatekeeping of fine arts, I think, is both like good and bad. Because on one hand, it's like, let's just say, let's use the black square, for example, right? You had a guy, uh, Malevich, Kazimir Malevich, or Kazimir, whatever his name was, the guy who's known for the black square. All he did was paint a big black square. And I feel like, or the more recent guy who did the banana. Like, what I find is interesting is, like, because of the gallery system, you can only do those like pieces and call it art like one time in all of art history, right? You can't like just keep trying to repeat the banana because it's already been done. And I think that's what the galleries gatekeep, which is actually good for society, is like, you can't have too many people trying to call themselves geniuses because they, made a black square, or they decided to paste the banana peel to a wall or something, right? You don't. There's only so many people that could be geniuses for coming up with that, and and where I think it's good that galleries, good in the way that galleries work is that they kind of prevent that because they make it world known that this piece existed, and we only need one of them. But at the same time, like for any creative people that have ideas and they want to do something just wild like this. Alexa, what is Watts Atelier San Diego?
From salary.com. Watts Atelier of the Arts, LLC is a higher education company based out of 745 N. Vulcan Ave, Encinitas, California.
Alexa off. All right, so Jeff Watts seems like the atelier. Seems like a very well recognized atelier. If it's being mentioned here, he must be famous. Jeff Watts, you must be famous, bro. Jeff Watts is famous. Are you a student of Jeff? Are you one of Jeff's students, Mr. Azam 98? Oh yeah, so back to what I was saying, as far as the gatekeeping galleries go, I feel like it's good because, we're only going to get so many like black squares, and we're only going to go get that, Catalan so many times before people are like, oh, okay, it was done before, we don't need another one, so let's move on from, black squares and this abstract stuff. And I'm talking about like abstract stuff that's like, you do it once, it's great, you make a lot of money, and then you're on to the next, controversial idea, or the one that, just raises a lot of people's attentions. But it also prevents, artists that are just starting from like coming up with that idea because they have to get into the gallery. It's like their art doesn't matter unless it's in the gallery, right? Or something like that. There you go. Painting portraits of your grandmother. That's amazing. That's one great way to do it. I'm sure she very much appreciates the thoughts. Alright, so let's see. We're going to come around here and get this dark shadow space, and we're just going to come around. So how was your portrait? How'd it go? Did you give it to her? Is it hanging in her wall, on her wall? How is that? How is that? How is it? How did that portrait go? Are you happy with it? Do you feel like you need to do another one? Let me try to capture. Let me start to outline this kid's face here. Jeff Watts. Where's Jeff Watts up to? You did a gouache. Very cool. Yeah, I studied at a. I haven't studied at a regular atelier. I studied via a digital art program, concept art. And some of my teachers were like, AAA game concept artists who also happened to do oil paints. So I was able to learn a lot from them. And great program. It's just, all of the stuff that was happening with AI at the time when I was studying there. Like they showed me Midjourney and they showed me like all the different AIs and they introduced me to those tools. They didn't tell me to use them, but they said that like these are what some people are using these tools for these really big jobs, and this is what you're going to be working against. And it literally scared me off. It totally scared me off from doing digital art. I was not ready to persist. I was not going to persist in digital art because of it. You're afraid of the digital stuff too, the photo bashing, very intimidating. Yeah. Oh, hey, yo. So, by the way, dude, I didn't even think about this. Thank you for reminding me. So since you're an artist, feel free to let me know if you would like me to plug your Instagram channel. I'm gonna go pull up Jeff Watts. We're gonna give Jeff Watts a shout out because one of his students decided to shout him out. So let's go ahead and plug Jeff Watts. I am not. Jeff Watts. Jeff Watts Fine Art. Watts Atelier. Look at that. All the greats follow him. There we go. Watts Atelier. Got Watts Atelier. What an amazing sketch and visual artist. Look at that. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Beautiful drawing, sketching. Amazing. Look at this amazing, incredible piece. So colorful, so amazing. That's not even him. That's a student. Meadow Gist. Well, I see. Look at that. Jeff Watts Studies, Samson by Solomon. Look at that. Jeff Watts. Amazing, brilliant, talented, amazing. Obviously, he must be an amazing teacher, too, if his students are pumping this stuff out. Like, it's one thing to be able to do it yourself, but it's another thing to actually be able to train someone else to, do it. So there we go, Jeff Watts. I don't know if you're on there. I can plug your channel too. 87,000 followers. That's fantastic. Very cool. All right. Alrighty. So we're still in this game called Guess the Master Copy. If you know what it is, you don't have to like say it. You can just keep it to yourself. The only thing you'll get is like points from people that are here, but also like the rank XP for chatting. But for your own benefit. So I'm doing a master study, but I'm not going to paint it the way the master probably painted it. Because the way they painted it, probably... Here's the funny thing I think about master copies. is no matter how well you do doing a master copy, and this is sort of philosophical, maybe a little bit. Who's that philosopher that's known for like just doom and gloom? Alexa, what philosopher is known for like doom and gloom?
From conversation.com. French philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre is sometimes seen as a gloomy philosopher who deals with
Alexa off. So maybe like Kafka. Is it? Maybe I'm thinking of Kafka. So like, I feel like no matter how good you copy a master copy or study, there's no way Nietzsche. Oh yeah, maybe it's Nietzsche, but there's no way that you're gonna get the same skill as that master. And here's what I mean by that is, even if I made this perfectly, exactly photo, every single little like mark, and I was to like go down to the pixel and try to copy even the slightest little brush mark, even if I did that, that would only make that I could copy well, but it doesn't mean I can actually be a good artist because, in order for him to do this, William Adolphe Bouguereau is the name of the art. I'm giving it away. I shouldn't have said that. But the artist who did this, he had to study tons and tons and tons of models. And then he had to like research. And I don't even think he had photos. So he couldn't work from photos. And then he had to work like, he would actually measure things out. He didn't have photos to work with. He had to like do studio lighting. And then he was able to come up with this composition and everything. And that simple fact alone means that even if I was to just copy it, it would not mean that I can even begin to make art like him. I mean, yeah, it kind of gets you a little bit closer, but it doesn't really mean much beyond the fact that you can copy. That's just my opinion, though. My opinion is not usually is usually a little bit not controversial, but just like I want to say like anti-academic, but maybe like anti-academic is like do master copies. That's how you learn. But I think master copies only teach you how to copy. And I don't actually know if teachers actually say anything about this or like, how they feel about what I'm saying. But, master copies is just learning the base, right? The base level. You just learn what the painting looks like at the surface, maybe a couple layers down below the surface. But then there's all this other work that happens behind the scenes. All the other work of sketching, color studies, analysis, character studies, story study, all these things that go into a painting. So let me sketch this out. I still got a couple more things to sketch out right now. That's just my opinion though. So, you know what, personally, I'm not the biggest fan of doing master studies. I probably have only maybe have I done any master studies? This is probably like my first master study in the sense of like, I'm actually copying directly right now the whole painting. Although, it's probably not the exact, it's pretty off. Maybe it's gonna be off. I don't know, we'll see. We're gonna see how this goes. I'm still, working out some of the details. But that's my little rant about master studies. So anyone, I love when people disagree with what I say, because that's my way of learning. If no one ever disagrees, it's like, how am I supposed to know if I'm right or wrong? How do I know if I'm right or wrong? Even if you're just disagreeing just to disagree, that's cool. So right here, we're gonna go like this. A couple of leaves like right here. A little leaf section right over here. We're gonna go with a leaf right here. I don't think the leaves need to be too specific beyond the fact that, you know, they at least need to be organized in a similar way, but not totally exact, right? Nietzsche, Nietzsche, Nietzsche. Nietzsche, pleased to meet you. Nietzsche. Mr. Existential Crisis. Mr. Existential is what we can call him. Someone the other day said that Nietzsche's thinking is so tragic, and I was like, you know what? Just because Nietzsche said, like, you know, everything, he was like saying things don't really matter. And I'm like, you know what? If it doesn't matter, it's not tragic, right? Like, if it doesn't matter, according to Nietzsche, then it's not tragic. Who cares? It doesn't matter. If it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter. Therefore, don't worry about it. All right, let's see. We got some leaves. We got a little leaf opening. Let's add a little opening for our leaves here. I might even leave the wings off. I was thinking I might even make this like a little like demon baby, as opposed to an angel baby. Oh, there's another hint of what this painting is. Hint, hint. Alright, how's the proportions looking? I think the proportions look okay. Proportions are looking okay, so let's start by adding I think I might need a bigger brush, but before we do that, I'm going to get some more water. Alexa, what's the temperature right now?
Right now, it's 85 degrees Fahrenheit.
Alexa, what's the temperature 1 hour from now?
At 4 p.m., it'll be 86 degrees Fahrenheit with clear skies and sun. At 5 p.m., it'll be 85 degrees with clear skies and sun. At 6 p.m., it'll be 83 degrees with clear skies and sun. At 7 p.m., it'll be 80 degrees with clear skies and sun.
One thing I'm probably not going to have the patience for is the leaves. So we'll see how that works out. But let's go. It's a nice big brush here that will help us cover larger areas with some painterly effects. What do I want? Do I want a gray there? Or you know what? Let's do section by section. Let's start with, so I'm going to zoom in on my computer details here. Why is the pixelation so strong in this? It's really weird. It's a lot of pixelation. Alright, so we're going to go, yeah, you know, we're going to start with a small brush. Let's just do a nice small brush here. We're going to grab some blacks, a really dark brown black. And let's go like right here. Want some thinner lines here. So we're going to go like this. And let's see, as we go in right here, we're gonna come around, and this probably comes around like right here. Some nice deep shadow right around there. And let's go with the eyebrows. Just start to get some eyebrows. The eyebrows are probably a little too low. They got to go a little bit higher on the nose here. So a little bit higher on, or on the, what should I say, the, what is this called? The bridge of the nose. Like around the bridge of the nose, I'm thinking there just needs to be a little bit higher. B-Man loved his angel baby paintings. Oh yeah, okay, so you recognize. See, you know, I haven't seen. You know, honestly, I haven't seen his other paintings. I've seen this at the Getty, and I just totally fell in love with it. You know, I was like, and like. This is like the most beautifully painted like flesh I've ever seen in my entire life. Like there's artwork that I see and I'm like, you know what? Maybe I should give up artwork and just start promoting other artists. You know, because like this is if I met someone. I'm not, you know, this is in a hypothetical situation, like an alternate universe type situation. If I met someone today, and I was just like randomly painting, and I met someone today that painted this damn well, and we became friends, and they were like, you know, I'm having a really hard time, you know, trying to find sales, and like, you know, I just can't, I just like, you know, maybe they just struggle with talking to people, period, or they struggle with anything related to the business of art. And they painted this damn good, as good as the actual painting, I would totally be like, okay, I might just quit painting and just do everything I can to help you because this piece is a masterpiece. This is better. The actual painting itself, I think, is better than the Mona Lisa. This painting by the original of this, in my opinion, is more skillful than the Mona Lisa. And honestly, that's not saying much. I think a lot of people agree that, you know, Mona Lisa, it's a great painting, But you know, it's Leonardo. The fact that it's Leonardo da Vinci that makes people like it more than the fact that it's like, you know, it's not like the most brilliant. I mean, for the time, but it's not like, you know, it's the Mona Lisa. Am I off base here? I get maybe. I feel like a lot of people would say that Mona Lisa is not like the most. It's not the greatest painting ever for as much attention as it gets. It's great. It's an amazing painting. And you know, considering the technology and the resources and the story behind the person, yeah, it's great. But as far as like, as far as actual paintings, the full scope of different paintings go, I mean, there's a lot of paintings that are technically better than the Mona Lisa, but they're not as successful. But yeah, if I did in an alternate universe where I wasn't as passionate about painting, or maybe I was only really passionate about painting, or if it, you know, in a different place, different time and place, and I met somebody who just like could not figure out how to get their work out there, and they were like, and I happened to meet them, I would totally, like, some paintings you just see and you're like, I will drop shit, excuse my language, to get this painting out there because it's so damn good. That's how I feel about this specific piece, which is why I feel compelled to do a master copy, and not because I'm trying to like, you know, paint. Not because I actually think I'm gonna be able to do it as well. Like I said earlier, no matter what, even if I was to copy this pixel to the pixel, you know, there's so much more that what's his name, the B guy, went through in order to make this painting happen. So much more. And you know, what I'm doing is only just barely scratching the surface of what went into it. Literally just the surface. This is just the surface of the painting. That's all the painting is a surface level sample of an artist's work, but it doesn't really, it's not the truth of how much effort it took. But yeah, I don't know. Like, has anyone ever seen a painting so great that you're just like, you know what, I would, in another world, I might do, and like I knew that person and they weren't already represented, I would possibly drop everything I'm doing and just try to help them get their work out there because this person is so talented. I'm sure someone has seen paintings like that. Who hasn't seen a painting that they like so much that just just a masterpiece, just absolutely moved you? I'm sure everyone has. I'm sure everyone has. All right, so we're gonna go in with this darker brown here. Let's sit. I'm trying to save some room for the ear. Excuse me. You know what, let me sketch out the ear here. So this is going to come up. slightly above the eyebrows. We're actually going to bring in some highlights to this. Modern times, you like Casey Boff or Casey Bath? Let's look up Casey Bath because I haven't heard that name. Let's look up Casey Bath. Oh, so I mean, obviously you love portraiture. Wow, look at that. Look at how super hyper realism there, huh? But still with like little expressions of little expressions. Not little, very bold, still with very bold expressions, but still somehow captures the total. Yeah, that's pretty amazing. Casey Bath, look at that. It's pretty amazing. Super photorealistic, but just, I mean, hyper realistic, I think is a real term nowadays. It even looks better than a photo, like better than a highly edited photo. Pretty incredible. Well, there you go. That must be, Casey Bath must be your B-man, right? You are obviously promoting them as opposed to promoting your own work. Now, obviously, you're not building a business around it, but that's what I mean, though. Sometimes you just see the artists, and in your free time, they're just so good. It's like it's worth talking about them. Just talking about whatever it is that they're working on, because whatever they're working on is pretty dang cool, right? Whatever they're working on is really, really damn good. I just hope that this turns out at least decent. At least decent. That's what I'm aiming for. I'm aiming for decent. We'll see. We'll see. Keep up. I'll have to keep up on progress here. I think another reason why I chose this too, was I thought it would really help me work on like glazing skills. Because I think that's the secret to this painting, is just really constant and regular glazing. I don't understand why this image is so dang pixelated. What is going on? Why is it so pixelated? Open with... Oh yeah, Adobe Illustrator. That would be a great tool to open with, because Adobe Illustrator doesn't reduce the pixelation of things. that better? No, still so many damn pixels. Help me out, Adobe. Why is there so many freaking pixels? Alright, whatever. I'm just gonna stick with this. Let's see, you know what? I can actually bring some of these. I'm going to grab a slightly bigger brush here. This is a 4, and this brush is a 6 probably. Oh, this is a 10. So I'm trying to decide my brush. So these are some of my favorite brushes for brushing. Is these Princeton Catalyst brushes. Because even after it loses its shape, it actually stays pretty useful, you know, after it loses its point. Because it's easy to clean, and it's synthetic, so I think it's rougher. And it helps me to get the brushing effects that I like. And I know there's like a specific brush, a Mottler brush or something like that. There's a very specific brush for like, you know, doing the whole brushy brush thing. I forget what it's called. Like a mop brush or something. I don't use it though, obviously. It's like a little round brush that has, you know, tons and tons of bristles, and it's really just used for like creating very wispy, you know, glazy surfaces. Let's go with, we're gonna go with the dark brown here. Let's go with some dark brown. We're just going to come up in the hair a little bit. And then we're going to go into our yellow ochre. Let's go into our yellow ochre here, and we're going to go bring this out a little bit. And then, let's come around, find some curls. Maybe a curl along the front of the face right here. And let's go. Whew. I am already feeling the complexity of this painting. Just two figures. Just two figures, and there's so much detail. Let's try to get her first. I shouldn't jump from figure to figure if I'm going to tackle this piece as a master study. And what am I seeing? Let's get right into here. And here we go. So we're gonna go like this. Just starting to build in some shadows along her face here. We're using a lighter, a slightly darker than yellow ochre, just slightly darker. And let's go. Let's see, this is going to come behind the chin. So, something like that. And I think I need a little bit of green. Just a hint of of a dark green. This is something I learned from a book. Let me share this book real quick. This book is probably one of the best art lesson books that I've ever bought. It's probably one of my favorites. I got it in Vermont at a library for very, very affordable. They were doing a used book sale. And it teaches like a couple techniques, or it analyzes different techniques from all these masters. So you got everyone from Giotto, names that I don't know, like Buoninsegna and Piero della Francesca. Of course, Bosch, El Greco, Courbet, the Impressionist modern masters from Matisse all the way to Hockney and Freud and Paul Klee, right? But here's what I love about this book and why I think it's one of the best is because although, it teaches you like a few of the really great techniques, like let's just pull out a technique here. Let's just say this is just an example. Paul Cézanne, right? It's got a chapter on Paul Cézanne, and it doesn't teach all of his techniques. It doesn't teach every method he ever used, but it goes into detail, and it'll kind of it'll zoom in, and it'll say oh, Viridian green, the different colors that he used, all these blah, blah, blah. All the shapes, the design, and you got the Gauguin. But what I think is really, really interesting about this book is that it'll even show their mistakes. It'll show you, let's see if I can actually pull up, what's his name, Vermeer. Vermeer is the most obvious. What page is this? 158? I gotta remember that page. Where's Vermeer? Vermeer's an interesting one, right? Because I think most people think of Vermeer, you know, he used, Vermeer is known for being the first, like, really successful, talented artist with famous painting to be known for using projector. Not like a modern projector, obviously, but like a projector from you know, the 1600s. So you would actually like look into a device. I forget what it's called, but you would look down into a device and then you would be able to see on the surface of what you're painting drawing. So, you know, Vermeer, I mean, he's known as one of the most technically skilled, like, draftsman quality artists. But even Vermeer was known for changing the positions of different body parts, right? So it's one of those things. Does he say in here, like, where he changed the body part? Minimal brushwork. The position of the guitar along the lower contour was altered, and a changed line can be seen, right? Let's see where it says dark glazes. X-ray photographs show an emphasis on white lead on knuckles. Anyway, maybe this wasn't the best example, but here's where I find it so fascinating about this book is, you know, most of us think of like master artists. What's up, Riley? Most of us think of like the masters as like infallible almost, right? Like infallible. Like Leonardo da Vinci could do nothing wrong. Everything was perfect, right? Like it's almost, we idolize our the great masters, right? But it's books like this that show that they had their own little quirks too. They had their quirks, and they had their own little additions and things that they did to add a piece of themselves. They made changes, they made updates. But what's up, Riley? How you doing? So I think for the artists, it's good to know because, you know, it's almost like, hey, you got permission to make mistakes. If you didn't think you did before, well, now you do. So we're actually, oh yeah, by the way, so it was from that book that I was just saying that I actually learned this idea that that a lot of classic artists actually used green. They actually used green for their underpaintings, not like red or white or a traditional like sienna, right? They would use greens. At least the super old painters. I don't remember how long ago. You know, we're talking like ancient times. They would use greens because that was like the only pigment they had, I guess. And honestly, right now as I'm looking at this, I'm wondering if I'm only using green because my computer screen is showing that. I can't tell if that's actually what was used or if it's just the computer screen. So we're just going to go with it, you know? We're going to go with what we see on the computer screen. Even if it leads us slightly astray. Because that's what's going to make this painting a little bit different. But Riley, you said something and then you never said anything again. What's that about? Just wanted to say something and never say anything again? Is that right? Stop just to say hello? I appreciate that. You know, that's cool. You just stop to say hello. Let's try to find a flesh tone here. I'm going to blend this shadow in with a little bit of a flesh tone so that it's not so distinct. We'll see how close we get on the final piece. And also, I think one thing that's going to have a huge impact is the underpainting. You know, the underpainting is very wild. It's going to be very aclassical. James Jean, he copied my hair. Am I gonna make it? You know, I am thinking about making a demon baby. I was thinking of just turning him red instead of this like pink color, or I guess just making him red instead of like a fleshy color. But I'm not sure if I want to keep his hair or not though. So I don't know if I need to give him like little baby horns or how I'm gonna navigate that yet. So, but yeah, I was thinking about that. I'm not sure if I gotta make him like, you know, bald headed or give him some hair or whatever. But let's go like this. We're gonna add the shadow along the top of the arm. And the shadow along the top of the arm. Yes, I was considering doing a demon baby. Just, you know, to make it my own. But it also has to be good enough. It also has to be like good enough that it's, you know, that it's like I didn't just make the demon baby as like a crutch. As like a crutch because I couldn't actually copy the baby. You know what I mean? It's gotta be good enough without. I probably should put like an 18 plus warning on this video. I mean, in general, my live stream is already not for kids. I already have that as a label. You know what? I should probably start pulling up references of demon babies right now because I know that at some point I'm gonna start painting him and I'm gonna totally forget that he's supposed to be a demon baby and accidentally start painting him like the picture. But it really does come down to being as simple as just making, you know, adding red instead of all these other colors. I want to make him red and give him horns. I might not even have to make him red. Yeah, it's just red. That's all I got to do is make them red and get the horns right. I'll have to do some research tonight because I'll definitely have to do some research tonight. We'll see. I'll do some research later. I won't take up y'all's time with that. I'll take up my time with that. All right, so oh my gosh, so my image here just has like so much pixelation. Every pixel's like let me see. Every pixel is like every pixel is like a quarter of a centimeter. So I'm seeing this like granulation in my image that's like, every like imagine like a centimeter square and like separate it into four little boxes. That's what I'm seeing right now. So it's really hard for me to do colors, and I don't know if it's because my computer's old or whether it's just the image that I downloaded is like. I might have to go search for another reference. Let's see. And let's go with the Getty version. Let's go with the version at the Getty. Oh, you know what happened? So my doofus, me being a doofus, I downloaded so I sent it to myself on Facebook. Ah, there we go. That's why. So here's what happened. I sent it to myself on Facebook, and Facebook automatically reduces the quality of the image, like without even trying. So that's what happened. Now I don't see as many pixels. Thank you. All right. This is very helpful though. This is actually quite helpful. So let's go bring in the screen. I want to make it a little bit less green. Let's make it less green here. A little bit more fleshy. It's too bright. That value's a little high, but it's okay. Let's start our first leaf here. This image looks so much better, my goodness. So much better. Such a better image. Let's actually get a leaf in here. Get our first leaf. Let's see how this goes. Oh, things are looking so much better now. Holy cow. So much better. It's like I was looking without my glasses earlier because everything was so pixelated. It was horrible. You know what I should do right now is I should also sketch in some of the, I don't know how I was doing that before, but it was so bad. I have no idea how I even got this far with what I was working with previously. I want to sketch out one of the branches here. And you know what? This is a little bit more zoomed in This painting is going to be a bit more zoomed in than our other one, than the original. So I'm just going to have to work with that. Let's go like this. And just gonna bring this down. And here we go. So we're gonna bring, what kind of branch is that? That branch comes up. Let's go with the branch. It's going to come right here. Just sketch out a little branch right now. I can already tell, like, I got pretty much all my proportions off, but I'm going to at least, you know, capture these two figures in all their glory. We're going to have less leaves, more figures. And actually this one's going to come around. Just to have a little bit of a line going, just for now. This painting will be definitely more focused on our figures here. Alright, let's go. Give it a nice little curve here. Let's get, I can see her hair so much better now. This is so, way better. Way better. I don't know how I was doing this before, but let's go, we're gonna go into here. I think her hair stays really dark in this like central area, so we're gonna keep this. Let's get it nice and dark. Hey.
You streaming?
Yes. How was it? Okay. Yeah, I'm sure. Could have gone. Could have been a widow. Could have been. Could have. Would have. Should have.
Hi.
All right.
How are you? How are you? Hi, cutie. Oh, that's nice.
That's my favorite painting. I'm doing a master study of it.
Oh, sweet.
Master copy.
Who's the original artist?
Well, I'm not supposed to say it because I said it would be a secret.
Okay.
I'll say it. Let me mute it.
That's cool.
He's at the Getty.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's got a painting at the Getty. This is my favorite painting. All right, and I am seeing some greens, but definitely not that green. So let's see how we should bring down a little bit, just a little curl right here. This paint is so different than I would ever master copy. Than I ever thought I would. Something called to it. You know, inspiration. I made up this quote the other day. Inspiration is the moment of creation. It's like when you feel inspired to for something, you know, there's some things that you just started, that you just get the idea and you're just like, yo, I have to run with this. This is it. Like, and I'm not saying that, you know, it's gonna make you, you know, I'm not talking like Jeff Bezos, you know, coming up with Amazon type of inspiration. I'm talking just like in general inspiration. You know, sometimes you come up with something, and you just gotta run with it. So let's grab our shadows. I want to go with our shadows. I'm trying to find the right shadow match, because otherwise, just find just the right shadow match for this. Something brown, not too dark. Here's a problem. So I think he started with like a red underpainting. His underpainting was like a red. And for me, you know, I have this like multicolored pink. And it's actually got an effect on the final image. And I just wonder, too dark. Still too dark. Let's go brighten this up a little bit. What was I going to say? I was going to say something about wondering if it's going to, how it's going to affect the final image. Because again, he did, you could tell that he probably used a red underpainting, like a cadmium red or something. Or like a burnt sienna throughout the whole thing, which allows like little pockets of shadow to pop through, and you can see it. And here we go. This is going to help us get the shape. Just his definition of her like abdomen and muscles is just so fascinating. So let's see. We're going to give right around here, come down, get the musculature into the belly here. And let's go like this. We're going to come around. And get the shadow like there. Come right around there. And then lighten this a bit. Here's the wild thing. So, you know, if you study this painting, man, he painted in her veins. Like, it's just so detailed, this painting that this guy did. And again, it's a secret for the YouTubers because I decided to make it a guessing game. But this is just such a remarkable painting. I'm just lucky to be able to be looking at it and making a copy of it. Let's go find some pink shadow here. You know what? Let's add like just a hint of green. Just darken this with a hint of green. Let's see. Let's see if this comes out. Yeah, that's not bad. And really, you know what? I think this painting, if anything, you know, the biggest thing is just it's going to take time, right? It's going to take quite a few sessions of working through this, working through challenges, working through, you know, just navigating the overall shape of everything. If it's not obvious enough that this is going to take time. Because I do a lot of these like 3-minute videos now of my paintings, and I feel like it could be easy to, you know, see those videos and be like, oh, you know, 3 minutes, yeah. Like even though we know intellectually, right, in our minds that something that's fast forwarded into a 3-minute video painting, you know, in our minds we know that it's going to take you know, it's not actually 3 minutes, but what our mind is actually seeing is that it does take 3 minutes. So, you know, even though you understand this bias, it's really difficult to like, I mean, it's difficult for me to like actually navigate it and like understand the difference. But let's go, where should we go? Let's keep going with our browns. And let's see. Browns along the front of the face here. Maybe what I should be doing instead of all this is building up larger areas. That's what I feel like I should be doing right now. Just build up larger areas wherever I see these shadows should go. Although here's the problem is like that's usually my mistake, and I usually create these like very like thick paintings. I usually end up creating these like very thick paintings that have this like look to them that I don't think I should do for this. Like right here, even though I know that this is supposed to be in like, you know, a shadow, I shouldn't use as deep of a shadow as I'm using. but let's see how it goes. We're gonna work on it. We're just gonna let's go. Let's clean off this brush. Try to find like a nice subtle pink highlight. Let's grab our pinks and start working these colors in. How do I find just the right tone? Because it's not pink pink. Maybe it is. Just like a very light pink. Let's get some elbow action here. Maybe right here. Let's see. Come down. No, too soon for that. Let's go. This. Just have to bring in a little there. Come down here and create this little contrast of an area. Let's bring down this hand here. Oh, and you know what? His arm needs to be a bit bigger. But I gotta find, I can't do his arm right now because I feel like I'm just gonna, if I'm gonna turn him into like a demon baby, I need to have that consideration of how that's gonna end up manifesting. And I don't necessarily know yet. I haven't really figured out the color combination that we're gonna go with. So I can't get too deep in with him just yet. There's so many greens. I see so many greens. Let's go up. I'm really trying hard, like, not to let my painting get too out of hand. So, you know, what usually happens with my work is, and I know it's an issue, is I'll just lay down like too much paint in these areas, like way too much paint, and my painting just gets out of hand. So I'm trying to be cognizant of my own, you know, regular methods of painting so that, you know, it doesn't become too big of an issue in this. I really just want this to be, I want this to be a very brushy painting. What do I mean when I say that? I mean like rather than like creating like, if you ever look at like a paint by numbers painting, right? If you ever look like paint by numbers, you could instantly tell that it's paint by numbers because, you know, let's say this color will be nice and bold and it'll end perfectly from here to here, and like this color will perfectly end here to here. But if you ever look at like a painting, you'll notice that the lines are never that like perfectly crisp. Unless, you know, again, unless it's specifically like a hard edge or a what are they called? Immaculates. So there's an entire movement called the Immaculates where, you know, everything was like immaculate. So they had like perfect edges. They would use like tape and hard edges. But for the most part, if you see like modern hard edges on some art, you know, sometimes it's only because they're using what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, because it's not paint by numbers, but it's like a technique, and it can look paint by numbers sometimes, and I don't want, and I'm trying to avoid that. So I want to avoid having, and that's what I mean by brushy brush, is I want it to look brushed. I don't want it to look paint by numbers, because sometimes my paintings can look like that because I'll paint these like large areas and it'll start to, and I don't really like do a great job, the best job of blending them. So it just ends up looking like, you know, paint by numbers kit or something, which I do not want. And this area is a little bit too curved, as it is almost in the painting, but we gotta fix that. Let's see how we can actually modify this. I want to reduce the curvature a little bit. Maybe like this, just, you know, it's a little bit too hunched. Like, she is very hunched in the actual image, but reduce the hunch just a little bit. You know, make it feel more natural. And let's go down into here. And honestly, you know what, maybe I should just keep this drippiness going. Let's see. So, and one thing I actually struggle with, that this is going to be a fun piece to study, is the whole idea of like just subtle curves, just ever so subtle curves. Like, you know, whenever I come down here, there's just this subtle curve that comes down, a really subtle curve that, you know, if you're not paying attention, you're just going to miss it. You're not going to catch it. And it's just going to make her back look, you know, unhuman and flat. But if you can catch it, it just becomes so much more human-like. If you're going for like a realism. So I think we've got a good actual, you know, base color here. Why did I even bother with this like really crazy wild base color? You know, this base situation here. I think it's really helpful to just have it, especially, you know, all the different variety of looks, you know, kind of guide your way of thinking, influence your eyes. And let's see, right into here, we're gonna come right up into her arm right here. Let this baby come down a bit. Let's go right into here, just blend this in. Honestly, it's too white. I don't really like the shade right now, but it's just a layer. One little layer. I guess every layer counts if you're really taking it, if you're getting very serious. Every layer counts. Which I guess I should always take it seriously, right? But I like the idea of just having something a little different, you know? I guess you could call this a copy and not, or a study and not necessarily a copy. Or just a study rather than a copy. Let's go here. We're gonna come down, and we're just gonna go like that. Let's go. Maybe I'll even make her a demon. Give her a tail. Maybe I could do that. That might be a cool idea. No. No, I don't want to. I'm trying to think. Maybe I should just give her a tail. Give her a little demon tail. Make her red. No, that's not what I want to make this about. That's not what this is about. I should keep it how it was. All right, now let's do this. Let's add some subtle blues into the background. We'll start to add some subtle blues. Maybe not subtle. Maybe a little bit more, maybe less subtle blues. Maybe not so subtle. Let's go up in this. Boom. Even, especially right into here, we can actually probably pop this color, start getting this color up. leaf down here. So we got a leaf. Let's clean up this leg here. Let's actually clean up this area around her head a little bit. And then we're going to go curve. Oh wait, oops. I don't want to paint into the leaves too much. Let's go. You know what, everybody? We're gonna take a break in a few moments because I can feel myself starting to reach that phase where I'm like, where I'm trying to get too crazy with it. Like I could tell when I'm painting, and I'm gonna start not making mistakes because I'm whatever. I start making mistakes or things that seem mistakes. Like, oh, I want to try this and I want to try this. But, deep down, I know that's not the right time to try this or that. So in order to stop myself from being myself, I kind of, at least for this painting, some paintings I do whatever, and maybe I might try something else later, but for this one, I don't want to get too wild just yet. We're going to try something else. Too wild just yet. And actually, let's get this foreground color. Let's start establishing better. We're still a little ways away from taking a break. I want to establish more color zones to be more reflective of what they will be at the end, as the end result. So let's say like right up by his head here is going to be a little bit of blue, and then we're going to have some blue coming down here. Let's come down with it right there. Let's see if we can find some blue areas where we can add some of this color for the leaves, so that when we do finally paint the leaves in, we could just throw the leaves in without worrying too much. About we can just throw the leaves in. We don't have to worry about this sky, having to repaint the whole sky or whatever. So throwing these little pops of sky blues and such. And the only reason why I know how to do this is because I'm constantly making mistakes. I used to make this mistake a lot, and I still do when I'm painting in plein air. And the question really arises: should I paint the sky first, or should I paint the tree first? And sometimes, I'll paint the sky first, and then I'll paint into the trees. I'll paint the sky first, and I'll paint the trees over the sky. And then what happens when you're painting in plein air, this is a really, really big issue in plein air, is when you're painting outdoors, live, what happens is the paint really mixes, so you're not going to get the really bright, full colors that you're hoping for. The colors just deaden a little bit. But also, you know, sometimes I think it's better to have that as a mistake than to have issues with your trying to paint the sky afterwards. I mean, both of them could be issues depending on how you paint, where you're painting, if you go outdoors or whatever. Both of them could be issues. Everything's a problem. You just gotta figure out how to. You just gotta figure out your own problems and figure out how to best to work around yourself. Know thyself. Be an artist. Know thyself. I just made that up. Be an artist. Know thyself. Now let's get this bottom ground here. What color should we use for that? It's like a... what color is that? Let's zoom in a little bit and try to nail down these colors. I'm trying to find a base color. I'm not really looking for like... I guess a gray? Is that a gray? Is that a gray or what? No, maybe a brown ochre. Let's just go with an ochre here for our base. We'll go with the yellow ochre here. The truth is, I'm actually seeing more of a gray, but I don't want to use gray in this painting. Who wants to use gray? Should I use gray? I guess I should just use like the variety of colors that I'm actually seeing, which is quite a few. This is why I know I need a break. Maybe. What we could do, let's go with some dark leaf colors. Try to find a good dark leaf color. Let's see if we can build up some of that. So grab our blue. We'll grab an ultramarine blue. Grab our yellow, ochre. Try to find like a really dark green. I want to find like a nice dark green base. Nice dark green, base dark green color. For the area around. So let's go like this. See, what's her knee? Her knee should come out just a little bit past, like right there. Is this it? this up a bit more. That's her knee. Yo, Evangelos. Evangelos. Thank you. I don't know. Is that Greek? Is that the Greek? Are those Greek letters that I see? I don't really know Greek, but thank you. Good old classic Greek letters. Hello and thank you for anything that you said. You could say something mean, and I'll be like, all right, thanks, dude. Yeah, sure. Sure, why not? Just going with it, man. Going with the journey. Let's go with a really deep shadow. I should bring in a really dark shadow when I can, aka right now. Just try to find a shadow underneath the foot here. See, it's probably a very, much more subtle. Let's lighten this up just a little bit. Oof, you know what? This foot could probably come a little bit lower. I don't really think about the proportion of the leg here. Can your foot come down lower? I feel like your foot could maybe come down a little lower. Should it? I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe it doesn't need to come down lower. And let's go like this. Boom, boom, boom. A lot of shadow there. Bring in some shadow right here. Things are coming along. We are moving. What is this? Oh, it's just green. Okay. Let's see. It's one thing when you're constantly looking back at the camera, it helps you figure out what's what sometimes. I recommend any artist who wants to consider picking up the stream to take their live streams to the world by getting on that camera. If you've ever wanted to get on camera and live stream, totally do it. Just do it. Why not? Get into it. Do it. You can do it. And you know what, people? Right. We're gonna take a nice little break now. Clean off our brushes, take a little break, recoup our brains, recover. It's only been You know, the start of this took about 3 hours, so fun little start. Now, I haven't totally studied this artist. You know, I'm still keeping it a little bit of a secret because I want people to try to, if you haven't heard it, if you don't know who this artist is, guess it. I'll reveal it at some point, but I haven't fully studied his process for this. All I know is that he did lots and lots of studies before he designed this. So given that knowledge, you know, all I can really do is just do my best to copy what he does show and see how it goes. So we're gonna put this on hold for now. We're gonna turn off our stream, and since it's still pretty early, we might be back in a little while, but for now, we're just gonna take a pause on this. For those of you that joined us, thank you. And we'll be back. Take care.